Kelhofer. I'm the IFC country manager for Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, obviously based here in Hanoi.
Our first question to you is, what is the IFC and what is the role of the IFC, and how does the IFC's work relate to the United Nations?
The IFC, the International Finance Corporation, was created in 1956. This followed on the foundation of the World Bank in 1944, which evolved as an international development organization and working in developing countries around the world. In the 50s, the architects of the World Bank realized that actually a lot of the jobs and a lot of development impact was created through the private sector. So they created a separate institution called the IFC to support and invest in and finance private sector development in developing countries around the world. And so the IFC was founded with 100 million in capital, and to date it's been about 2 billion of investee capital, and we've provided almost 300 billion of financial support for countries around the world over the past 50 years. This is development impact to improve people's lives and to improve shared prosperity in these countries. Now, the relationship with the United Nations, similar to all the post-war institutions and the Bretton Woods World Bank, had an affiliated relationship with the United Nations, so we're considered a United Nations affiliated institution alongside the World Bank.
Why are you passionate about your work?
Well, I actually think I'm one of the luckiest guys in the world because I get to wake up every day and figure out what can I do to improve people's lives. That's the mission. That's what we try to do. So here in Vietnam, we invest approximately $1 billion every year to help improve people's lives and help improve shared prosperity. Now in that, and this is important, is that we need to understand how Vietnam works, the local culture, the local practices, the local business community, and help better understand. And that's why I think I'm also lucky because I get to wake up and have to learn about how Vietnam works and what are the lessons that Vietnam has for other countries around the world. What could Bangladesh learn from Vietnam, and what could Bangladesh share with Vietnam?
What is keeping you and the IFC busy at the moment?
Obviously, the whole COVID and COVID response situation. Even though Vietnam is one of the better performing countries in the world, Vietnam has a number of economic linkages with countries that have profoundly impacted. And so we've been active here since late January, early February. In fact, one of the first development institution responses globally to the COVID problem was here in Vietnam, where we, IFC, we provided an additional 300 million to support SME supply chain linkages back in February. We've gone on, the IFC, to support approximately 8 billion globally and probably about $500 million here in Vietnam for the COVID response. So that obviously is keeping us busy. But in addition, we have our normal business of Vietnam's rapid ascent in development to upper middle income and eventually higher income. And this is better jobs, better banks, but also importantly, better infrastructure, cleaner infrastructure, solar power, for instance, instead of coal-fired power.
Which sustainable development goals do you think your work impacts the most, and how?
I'd like to think we address all of them, but the primary mission of IFC is two-pronged. One, eliminate poverty, and two, improve shared prosperity. So this is our overarching purpose. This is what we ask ourselves every day in every project that we work on. How does this address poverty? How does this improve shared prosperity? Of course, we have requirements as well as desires on sustainable development. Cleaner food supply, cleaner energy, more sustainable banking, access to finance for women, access to finance for minorities. And so of course we address other SDGs, but front and center, address poverty.
What do you find challenging in your work the most, personally or here in Vietnam?
I've been now in the IFC approximately 22 years, and I've probably worked in maybe 50, 60 countries around the world. And similar to Tolstoy, every country has problems, but every country's problems are different. And so one of the biggest challenges is learning and to better understand what are the issues here in Vietnam or in Bangladesh or in Ghana. I'm an American in Pittsburgh. There are things I will never understand. And so this is where it's important for me to work with the best people in Vietnam and get to know Vietnam and listen to our counterparts in Vietnam and help provide solutions, local solutions to local problems in countries around the world, and then learn from these solutions to help improve those operations in other countries.
This is our final question to you. How might the UNIS Hanoi community see your work in action?
I'd like to think you see our work in a number of ways. I mean, first and foremost, I'd like to think the air we breathe is going to start getting better because we, IFC, we financed the first private solar power plant here in Vietnam 2 years ago. Now we're one of the largest renewable investors and financiers in Vietnam. So hopefully the air will continue to get cleaner. I'd like to think maybe the food we're eating at lunch in the cafeterias may benefit from our supply chain efficiency projects and food tracing to help ensure that the food we eat is cleaner and of appropriate standard. I'd like to think that a lot of the vendors and people we work with at UNIS might be benefiting from local banks that IFC's worked with in the last 20, 25 years and getting access to loans to provide products and services for UNIS people and UNIS staff. But I think maybe most importantly, I think maybe UNIS was founded 20, 25 years ago to help international community work in Vietnam. But I think today Vietnam has an incredibly vibrant middle and upper middle class whose kids go to UNIS. So I think now I'd like to think UNIS is now UNIS Hanoi and UNIS Vietnam and UNIS for the Vietnamese.